The First Minister says she'll decide in due course if next year's SNP manifesto will commit her party to a second independence referendum. There have been calls for Nicola Sturgeon to clarify her position after Alex Salmond said another vote is inevitable. Ms Sturgeon is currently on a trade mission in China and says her party will decide the way forward whilst listening to the will of the Scottish people. From Beijing, the BBC's Martin Patience reports.
Vice President, it's nice to see you again.
As Scotland's first female First Minister, it was perhaps appropriate that Nicola Sturgeon address women's rights in China, a country that's never had a top female leader.
The truth is that virtually all countries in the world are on a journey towards true gender equality, but no country has yet completely achieved gender equality. That means we all need to learn from each other about how we can best make further progress.
This trip was supposed to be about putting Scotland on the world stage, about bolstering economic and cultural ties with China, but instead the start of this visit has been overshadowed by comments back home. At the weekend, Alex Salmond told the BBC that a second referendum was inevitable and that the timing was in the hands of Nicola Sturgeon. So is it?
I believe Scotland will become an independent country, and that will only happen if people vote for it in a referendum. So I believe one day there will be another independence referendum. It will be up to me or to any future leader of the SNP to decide whether or not that goes in a manifesto for a Scottish election.
The Westminster government says they have no plans for another referendum because the circumstances haven't changed since the September vote. The Scottish Secretary, David Mundell, says he wants Nicola Sturgeon to clarify if it was party policy to have a second poll.
I think Nicola Sturgeon needs to come clean and tell us whether she wants to have a second referendum or not. In the Scottish Government's white paper, we were told that there would only be a referendum once in a generation. Then it was once in a lifetime, just ahead of the referendum. Ahead of the recent UK general election, Nicola Sturgeon said there wouldn't be a second referendum. Now that seems to be on the cards.
Fantastic. Lovely to meet you.
Thank you so much.
Back in Beijing, the First Minister dealing with business at hand. A slew of trade deals worth £43 million to the Scottish economy, which the government says will create 70 new jobs. She may have travelled thousands of miles to promote Scotland overseas, but the politics of home are never far away. Martin Patience, reporting Scotland, Beijing.
Well, I'm joined now by our political correspondent, Andrew Kerr. And this issue, Andrew, of whether or not there's going to be another referendum, it's not going to go away.
No, Jackie, it's going to continue dominating Scottish politics for the next few months at least. And in some ways, this isn't just a media storm caused by Alex Salmond's comments on the Andrew Marr show yesterday. We heard from Martin there that the SNP had asked the UK government about their contingency plans for another referendum. They say they don't have any contingency plans. So the pot is being kept boiling, but Alex Salmond has perhaps put Nicola Sturgeon in a slightly awkward position by saying the timing is up to her when she said it's always up to the people of Scotland. So it comes to their autumn conference in October in Aberdeen. The talk will be fizzing, the tea rooms and bars will be fizzing with talk of whether this goes in the manifesto or not. A difficult strategic decision for Nicola Sturgeon. She has to keep thousands of new members happy, but she doesn't want to scare the horses in the rest of Scotland by committing to another referendum, because pro-union parties are saying, hang on, we thought we'd settled this issue back in September. In fact, in Nicola Sturgeon's own phrase, just before, a year before the referendum, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. So we're going to see this debate continuing.